Let's demolish one basic myth. The myth that the Western world is a protector of democracy. Let me put it very clearly. The Western world never came out of its imperialistic mindset, which is now out in the open for everyone to see during the Ukraine crisis. And no, I'm not talking about the statements about blue eyes, brown hair, and white skin of the Ukrainian refugees. I'm talking about the EU's sheer hypocrisy and patronizing behavior over sanctions against Russia. Hi and welcome to TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of TFI Media Group. I'm your host Tejasvi Malhotra. Let's begin. The West is redefining hypocrisy. How? Well, it doesn't want the likes of India or China to buy Russian oil or gas. Because Russian oil and gas are tainted with Ukrainian blood. And what about the European Union? Well, the EU is some sort of a privileged player that can still purchase Russian energy worth over 15.5 billion euro, even as the West asks the rest of the world to boycott Moscow. Yes, the EU has imported over 15.5 billion euro of Russian energy as of Saturday morning since day one of the Ukraine crisis. Let's dive a little deeper into Russian oil and gas statistics. Guess who is purchasing a major bulk of Russian energy? Yes, you got it right, Europe. At least 75% of Russian energy exports go directly to Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, Europe. Countries like Germany, France, and Italy make Russia's energy sector really strong. Other European countries like the Netherlands, Poland, Finland, Lithuania, Romania too import large amounts of Russian crude oil. So when Russia invaded Ukraine, European powers made it a point to lobby hard and ensure that Russian oil and natural gas were exempted from sanctions. So there should be no doubt about one basic fact. Europe has made the Russian oil and energy industry a gigantic player in the current international order. Yet all they seem to want is that India should stop importing Russian oil. And while you think that the EU's hypocrisy has been laid bare, move further west and you will see how self-contradictory Washington DC can be. India doesn't import a lot of Russian energy. Practically speaking, Russia is a marginal crude oil supplier to India and contributes less than 1% of India's total energy requirements. Given the levels of European energy imports from Russia, the West shouldn't even bother about India's crude oil purchases from Moscow. Even otherwise, India is free to import oil from wherever it wants. When the West is itself importing the lion's share of Russian energy supplies, why should it be even concerned about Indo-Russia trade? Yet, when Russia offered discounted crude oil to India, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki had some particularly condescending remarks to make. The US agreed that Russia's offer to India doesn't violate American sanctions. Yet, Psaki said,
also think about where you want to stand when the history books are written in this moment in time. And support for the Russian leadership is support for an invasion that obviously is having a devastating impact.
So history books will judge India if it purchases Russian oil. Yet Europe's 15.5 billion euro bailout to Russia will find no mention in the history books printed in Europe and the USA. Psaki is not the only one trying to lecture India. UK Trade Minister Anne-Marie Trevelyan too said, "We are very disappointed, but we continue to work with Indian partners." Yet when EU had clarified that it won't ban Russian oil and gas, we had seen some very different reactions coming from Western rulers. US President Joe Biden had himself said that he understood how many of our European allies and partners may not be in a position to join us in banning Russian oil. So the US understands the EU's predicaments, but not those of its non-European allies and partners. The West is still suffering from the colonial era hangover. It feels it can make decisions on behalf of the Eastern powers while pursuing its own interests. But it doesn't work like that in today's multipolar world. Now the EU should either stop buying Russian oil and gas or stop lecturing countries over sovereignty, democracy, and ethics.